Hey everybody, we are back from a very, very extended break, much longer than I anticipated, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you that. I apologize for that. It was just one thing after another. If you guys have followed the channel for any length of time, you know there was a whole lot going on. We moved, but here we are. Welcome back, Shawn. Welcome
Thanks
to
for
the new
having
house. So good to see you. I'm so glad you were able to make it over here to start this up again.
I'm glad to be here.
There's a lot that happened. There's a lot that happened. Let's start off with kind of, I would say, one of the biggest stories that happened while we were on break, and that is the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You mentioned, and we've talked about it before. I didn't watch Charlie Kirk religiously like some people did. I didn't watch. I saw various clips here and there, right? Like I'd be scrolling on YouTube and I'd see, Charlie Kirk versus blah, blah, blah. And if it was a topic that I was interested in, or if it was something that I thought maybe I'd want to learn more about, then I'd click it. And he was an excellent debater.
He was.
I mean, the man was gifted. He had a real way with words and an ability to remain level-headed, even like with some of the vitriol that was thrown his way.
There was some nasty
Oh,
people.
very nasty people and very nasty things that people would say and do. It was crazy, but he always had a civil conversation.
He wanted open dialogue.
Yeah, and that's something that I've always, it's something that I've always really been for. Is let's just talk about it. Let's just have a conversation. It's why I started this show, is let's just talk. So
and he said it's always bad when two sides stop talking. Like that's what leads to a civil war.
Precisely. And unfortunately, he's right. When people don't talk, the only way to get your point across is by doing something other than talking. And it's sad. One thing I learned after his passing is that there are a lot of younger people that were driven by the things that he said.
Yeah. More than I ever knew.
More than I ever knew as well. I mean, I knew he was popular because he was getting
views.
He was getting
publicity.
Views and publicity and being invited to speak at all these different places. But people that I personally know came to me after this and were like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it." I watch him all the time, and I was like, "Wait, what? You do?" He said, "Well, how come you don't watch me?"
And to have it in public like that is terrible.
Absolutely crazy. So one of the things that I think is, I guess, being really shown with this Charlie Kirk situation is what's reported in the media versus what really happened. Because the media ran with the story that his wife and kid were in the audience.
That's what they said first. Yes.
Yes, they were not. Erica Kirk specifically stated that they were not there. She was actually in another state at the time. Now, she hopped a plane right away, of course, but her and her children were not there. As a matter of fact, Charlie did not take his children to these events. I don't blame him, because people are nuts. They are crazy.
And then the
prime example.
See people on the left go on the internet and actually celebrate and be gleed. I was like shocked at how evil people do.
I was sickened, man. I was absolutely sickened. So one thing that I've seen, and I won't even say the left, anyone that celebrates the death of another human being, you have a problem. You really do, and you should get help. With one exception, and that is pedophiles. Like, sorry, the guy in England that I guess he was a famous rock and roll star. He was a singer for a band. Absolute sicko.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
I sent you the story. Absolutely disgusting individual, disgusting human being. And I am not sorry that this happened to him. He was killed in prison. I'm going to show you guys. this is not. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Let me change this real quick because I'm gonna go to my messages and see if I can find it because I can't think of the guy's name right now. Did I send it to you?
I don't know. I think you did.
I thought I did too. You know what? I know who I did send it to, though. Like I said, I can't think of the guy's name, but anyway, look it up. You will see it. It's in England, and it just happened. And yeah, whatever. Anyway, in that case, I mean, I get it. Let's just say that. I understand the celebration. To my knowledge, Charlie Kirk never hurt a soul.
No.
So it's just way, way, way more mind-blowing than I ever feared, with this. And when you have someone, for example, a teacher that is celebrating this, that's a problem. We had that actually right here in Valparaiso. There was a teacher that was celebrating.
I heard that.
I think I'm pretty sure it was Westville.
Was it Westville?
There was one in Westville.
I
think there was one in Valpo too.
Yeah.
How sickening that there are two right by us.
Uh-huh.
Now, people are like, well, that's free speech, or you guys are attacking free speech. No, the government is not making any laws prohibiting them from saying what's on their mind. But if you guys remember, during COVID, there were a whole bunch of people going to people's employers and telling them, hey, they're not wearing a mask. They did this, they did that.
Uh-huh.
So you can't have it both ways. I mean, I don't want someone teaching my children, someone that is celebrating the death of an individual that didn't hurt anybody. I don't want them teaching my kids.
No.
It's just that simple. But I mean, my kids aren't in school anymore, period. But I took them out of public school for that reason, because let's just say we weren't shocked that so many teachers. Speaking of teachers, I learned something I went to this, it's like the Northern Indiana, it was a prayer breakfast that we were invited to. And we went, and at the prayer breakfast was the superintendent of a school system not too far away from here. And they said, one of the big issues and one of the reasons why you see so many, I guess, liberals or left-leaning, and I mean like progressive, let's use that term, far left progressive teachers, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be a teacher anymore. Think about it. Look at some of these kids are dangerous. And the parents, there's an entire generation that has never been told no.
True.
The parents just, oh yeah, little Johnny, oh yeah, he just stabbed me. He does that. What? Yeah, it's craziness. And so one of the things we need to do is we do need to, I guess, have the conversation with this generation, or, the ones that are growing up now, and emphasize to them how critical it is to teach the next generation. I was a trainer. I know I wasn't a school teacher, but I was a trainer for a truck driving company for a period of time. And I loved teaching, man. I thought it was, awesome. Not everybody feels that way. And there's a big difference between teaching a grown man something.
True.
And teaching these little feral, toe biters stuff, because yikes. Anyway, I know I went on a little rant there.
It's all right.
But that's the kind of stuff that has been going on, and it highlights a problem with our current system and the lack of teachers. That's why the progressives were able to infiltrate our education system so easily, because it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And think about it, the pay sucks for teachers. Everybody knows that. It's not anything new. We can address, well, should it be that way? And, should they this and should they that? But the fact of the matter is you can make way more money doing something else. So that you're not going to do it for the money if you're a teacher. Administration, that's a whole other story. But you got to be a teacher first in many cases. And yikes. I mean, I think admin needs to be cut significantly in many of these places. But that's just my opinion.
Doesn't he have a state budget? It's like a third of it.
I think it's like 50% or
Is it
more
half?
on
We did a show
education.
on that. I just trying to
Yeah,
remember.
we talked about it. Let's see. Indiana budget
I know it's a big.
for education. It's a
Percent.
huge number.
Uh,
Okay, there we go. We're going to show you this. Indiana's budget for K through 12 education is approximately $9.4 billion with a B for fiscal year 2026, with the state's general fund allocation to tuition support. The new budget includes increased per pupil funding, et cetera, et cetera. It is a vast amount. Let's see here. Percentage. K through 12, 47%. So just shy of half of Indiana's budget goes to education. But you'll still have those people
that it's not enough.
that it's never enough. The solution to these people is throw more money at the problem. Obviously, the money's there. $10 billion a year. Think
And it's
about
not
that.
going to the teachers.
It's not going to the teachers. No, absolutely not. We did a show on that, and wow is all I can say. It's very, very sad. It's very sad. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to dive into here, we have a short little video. Oh, here. And first of all, it's about Venezuela and the Trump administration shooting the boats. We've got both sides. We've got Rand Paul, who was against it, and we've got Rubio.
Yep.
Yeah, Rubio was in favor of it. We're going to show both, and then we'll talk about it and see. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you in favor of this? Do you think it's right? Let's get into this, and we'll see what we're dealing with here. I'd like to give them an opportunity to sway me because I have my opinion on it. You have your opinion on it. Let's see what Senator Paul has to say.
Somewhere off the coast of Venezuela, a speedboat with 11 people on board.
What's that?
No sound.
No sound. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let's see here. I have sound.
Yeah, it didn't work.
There we go.
Try it now.
It wasn't plugged all the way in. Let's try this. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let's start it over.
Somewhere off the coast of Venezuela, a speedboat with 11 people on board is blown to smithereens. Vice President Vance announces that killing cartel members that poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. When challenged that killing citizens without due process is a war crime, the Vice President's response is that he doesn't give a shit. Sometimes, in fits of anger, loud voices will say they don't care about the niceties such as due process. They just want to kill bad guys. For a brief moment, all of us share that anger and may even embrace revenge or retribution. But over 20,000 people are murdered each year in the U.S., and somehow we find a way to a dispassionate dispensation of justice that includes legal representation and a trial. Why? Because sometimes the accused is actually not guilty. Even with the best of care, even with the best of justice, sometimes we find out it's the wrong person. As passions subside, a civilized people should ask questions. To be clear, the people bombed to smithereens were guilty, right? If anyone gave a you-know-what about justice, perhaps those in charge of deciding whom to kill might let us know their names, present proof of their guilt, show evidence of their crimes. The administration has maintained that the people that they blew to smithereens were members of a gang, members of Tren de Aragua, and therefore narco-terrorists. Why? Because we say so. But certainly then, if they know that they belong to a particular gang, then someone must surely know their names before they were blown to smithereens. Is it too much to ask to know the names of those we kill before we kill them? To know what evidence exists of their guilt? At the very least, the government should explain how the gang came to be labeled as terrorists. How did the people who you say are in a gang, how did they come to be labeled as a terrorist? U.S. law defines a terrorist as someone who uses premeditated, politically motivated violence against non-combatants. Show us evidence of that. Show us evidence of their guilt. Show us evidence that they are terrorists, perhaps before we blow people to smithereens. Since the U.S. policy is now to blow people to smithereens if they are suspected of being in a terrorist gang, then maybe someone should take the time to explain the evidence of their terrorism. Critics of this whole terrorist labeling charade, such as Matthew Petty at Reason, explain that in practice, what we are doing in practice means that a terrorist is whoever the executive branch decides to label one. You are a terrorist because you are labeled one. You can be killed because you are called a terrorist. But where in all of this is some sort of evidence that you are guilty of something? While no law dictates such, once people are labeled as terrorists, they appear to be no longer eligible for any sort of due process. No, the blow them to smithereens crowd at this point will loudly voice their opinion that people in international waters don't deserve due process. Vice President Vance asserts there are people who are bringing literal terrorists who are bringing deadly drugs into our country, which of course raises the question, who labeled them as terrorists and what is the evidence of these specific people who had names before they were blown to smithereens? What is the evidence against them individually? What are their names? What specifically shows their membership and guilt? Were they armed at the time they were blown to smithereens? The blow them to smithereens crowd also conveniently ignores the fact that death is generally not the penalty for drug smuggling. The mindless trolls that occupy much of the internet whine that such questions show weakness or commiseration with drug pushers who are killing our children. A ludicrous assertion to most sentient humans, but one I fear that requires a response. International law and norms have always granted due process to individuals on the high seas not actively involved in combat. U.S. maritime law explains in detail the level of force and the escalation of force allowed in the interdiction of drugs. You realize we interdict hundreds of ships off the shore of Miami, off the Pacific coast, and we don't always blow them to smithereens. Why? Because some of them don't actually have drugs on them. Hundreds of ships are stopped daily, yearly. The blow them to smithereens crowd might stop to ponder that a good percentage of these ships that we actually search turn out not to be drug smugglers. Coast Guard statistics show that 1 in 4 interdictions finds no drugs. So far the administration has admitted to blowing up 4 boats suspected of drug smuggling. So there's a 1 in 4 chance, statistically speaking, that one of these boats may not have had any drugs on it. We will never know because they were blown to smithereens. We may never know the names of the people.
I mean, he does make some compelling points. Let's let the other side have their say before we get into it. We're going to go to Secretary of State Rubio, Marco Rubio, I have it queued up, and it is from the 2:55 to the 5:35 mark. So 2.5 minutes on half the time of our friend Rand Paul. Here we go.
First of all, let me say that from an operational standpoint, I'll leave it to the Pentagon to identify munitions, units, and things of that nature. Let me say this. The United States has long, for many, many years, established intelligence that allow us to interdict and stop drug boats. And we did that. And it doesn't work. Interdiction doesn't work because these drug cartels, what they do is they know they're going to lose, 2% of their cargo. They bake it into their economics. What will stop them is when you blow them up, when you get rid of them. So they were designated as what they are. They are narco-terrorist organizations. So the same information and the same intelligence mechanisms with maybe a higher focus was used to determine that a drug boat was headed towards eventually the United States. And instead of interdicting it on the president's orders, he blew it up. And it'll happen again. Maybe it's happening right now. I don't know. But the point is, the president of the United States is going to wage war on narco-terrorist organizations. This one was operating in international waters, headed towards the United States to flood our country with poison. And under President Trump, those days are over. La pregunta fue sobre la operación ayer. Part of this working group, part of our security plan, part of our implementation is to stop the flow of armaments. We have the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms involved. We have the FBI involved. And it's not just Mexico, by the way. Those arms are flowing to Haiti. They're flowing to Jamaica. They're flowing to Trinidad. They're flowing into the Caribbean. And we're going to put a stop to it. So that is part of our implementation plan. And it's going to require cooperation because they're going to seize armaments. And they're going to tell us these are the armaments we seized and we think it came from here, and we'll be able to trace back the networks. It's going to take some investigative work. Or we're going to be able to seize armaments and prevent them from coming because we know these networks and we're going to disrupt them. So that is part of our agreement and part of what we're working on. And by the way, we think it adds to our own security. I would make one more point, and that is the unconventional weapons that some of these cartels are now coming into possession of. We are increasingly concerned that these cartels are now in possession not just of landmines and grenade. We're now seeing the deployment of drone technology by narco-terrorist groups operating out of Venezuelan territory in many cases into Colombia. Imagine drones in the hands of these narco cartels threatening nation states, threatening security forces. So that the President of the United States has determined that narco-terrorist organizations pose a threat to the national security of the United States. I don't need to explain to you why. They are traffickers of people. They are traffickers of deadly drugs. They are traffickers of all kinds of illicit means. And they use the money that they generate to destabilize governments in the region, which in and of itself then poses a threat to the United States.
Okay. So let's talk about this.
All right.
I am of the opinion, now I personally know people whose lives have been destroyed by the illegal drugs that are flooding into this country.
And I know people like that too.
Yeah. I think all families, through one way or another, know someone whose lives have been affected by drugs. Now, that said, if I am of the opinion that if someone is bringing in illegal substances to this country, especially at the level we're seeing from these narco-terrorist organizations, I'm not saying if this, I have no idea if these boats were carrying people who were doing something. I don't know. I wasn't there.
And they weren't saying.
Right. Here's the issue. I go back. I do agree with Rand Paul on one thing, and that is we've been shown zero evidence that these boats were carrying drugs bound for the United States. We're told, trust me, bro. Source, trust me, bro. I have a problem with that. I do have a problem with that.
I don't like the thing that the executive can just name somebody a terrorist.
Right.
That is, I said that during the video that's frightening. Democrats could easily do that to conservatives.
That's the key, right? So listen, guys, under the Biden administration, the FBI and other organizations, remember, we did a show on this where people were buying a Bible and all of a sudden you're on a list.
Uh-huh.
How hard is it to just go, oh, they're domestic terrorists? Next thing you know, you don't get any due process. You don't get a lawyer. Freaking Patriot Act, man. It goes back to that. Now, with evidence, I mean, blow up the damn boat. But, as I said, we, the people, are not being shown any evidence. And like you said, okay, so what's to stop them from going, you are now a domestic terrorist? Because the left, let's face it, guys, they're ready to name anyone who voted for Trump as a domestic terrorist.
They are.
If they get power again, we are in deep shit. It's just that simple with the way things are currently. So I overall, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I would much rather see a Navy destroyer interdict this vessel, stop it, search it. But again, this is international waters.
And that's what makes it tricky.
Right.
And these aren't U.S. citizens, so that makes it tricky as well.
Right. What do? Do you wait until they enter the territorial waters of the United States? I mean, it's a big-ass coastline, guys. We have a huge coastline.
This kind of reminds me of the gray area with Obama when he used to do all the drone strikes.
Right.
But at least with him, he kind of had, not really, AUMF. So I think Congress needs to be more involved in this.
Right. And that's another key that has been brought up by multiple people, left and right. As you see, Rand Paul is the furthest from a progressive that I think, we've ever seen that is willing to disagree with the administration. He speaks up, and that's one thing I'll give him. Big fan here. I don't agree with everything he says and does, but in general, at least the man has a sack on him. I mean, it does. It takes a lot of nerve to stand up there and say, hey, what this administration's doing, I do not agree with.
Especially if it's your own party.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Like, it's one thing to get up there and talk about how bad Biden's doing. It's another thing to get up there and say, hey, look, Trump, I don't agree with this. So, I mean,
him
props
and Trump
to him.
have gotten into verbal disagreements already, and he's just started being president like his term 9 months ago. Right.
So,
but yeah, he's not afraid to tell it like he thinks it is.
No, not at all. I think we agree. Things need to change. For one, the Patriot Act just needs to go away. There is no reason that any United States citizen should be carried off in the middle of the night to a cell in Gitmo and not given legal counsel. We have
constitutional rights.
The due process.
Yes.
We have due process in this country for a reason. Now, with this, people talk about the war on drugs, right? The war on drugs. Well, what have we got to show for that?
Just spending a lot of money.
Right. We have spent so much money on this.
They also need to repeal the indefinite detention provision that passed in the NDAA.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah. I mean, all these things. I can agree with most of what the Trump administration is doing. I do. We'll talk about ICE here in a little bit, but there are things that I agree with, and there are things that I don't agree with. This whole just blowing boats up that, trust me, bro, it has drugs on it. That's sketchy. That's very, very sketchy. And I didn't agree. I didn't agree with Obama when he was drone striking everywhere. Yeah, I'm not just going to give carte blanche. And that's one of the problems that we've seen, the like you said, the internet trolls online. Well, what about Obama? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Two people can both be wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because I voted for Trump doesn't mean I agree with everything he says and does. We've talked about that before. The man says some shit that I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Where'd you get that, bruh?
And sometimes he speaks without thinking.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, I have some concerns
As
with
do
this.
I.
I definitely have some concerns. Like you said, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. What's to stop them from deciding that you are a threat, that I am a threat? And it's not as far fetched as people would like to believe. If they can designate these people, and so I will say this though. I find that there's sufficient evidence to designate Trinidad Aragua as a threat to the United States. I agree with that. I think a threat, yes. National security concern, yes. Terrorist organization, we're getting we're getting into some gray areas here.
Stretching.
Yeah, and that whole thing also extends to Antifa. There are some concerns there. Look, I am no fan of Antifa. Just because you say I tell you that I hate fascists. Okay, so now anything I do is perfectly fine. No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So again, there are some concerns there. All right, so the next thing we have for you is we learned that the Earth is speeding up, guys. Just because I'm telling you, days seem shorter, you're not wrong. Days are indeed shorter. Why is the Earth spinning faster? Is time speeding up? Australia's experts give us their second opinion. Standard Earth Day is 86.400 seconds, but over 3 days in July and August, scientists expect the planet's rotation to quicken relative to the sun. So the days are speeding up. Now, granted, it's milliseconds, right? 3 days in July and August could flit by faster than usual this year, but only if your clocks are set to astronomical time. Standard Earth Day, 86,400 seconds. But on 9th July, 22 July, and 5 August, scientists expect the planet's rotation to quicken relative to the sun, truncating the days by a millisecond or more. And one of the things that ties to this that you sent me a while back is that the dam, the Three Gorges Dam in China, actually is affecting the Earth's rotation. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to spend a bunch of time on that, but look it up. We should have some concerns with massive projects that affect the entire planet. We should have some conversations about that. But how can you tell a country, no, you can't do that?
Exactly.
But I think it's worth having a conversation about it for sure. It's kind of concerning that they can do that. That they can build something so massive and it affects the water so much that it actually affects the Earth's rotation. Not by a great amount, but any amount is a concern. So the next thing is what am I doing there? I couldn't find the button. So Venezuela, we know that Trump and Venezuela do not get along. But the opposite is true with Argentina. Trump boosts Argentina's, how do you say his name?
Milei, I think.
Milei, I don't know. This guy, Milei,
the libertarian.
Yeah, the libertarian president that told every one of his cabinet members that they were now under investigation for fraud, which the guy's freaking awesome in many regards.
He's a little nuts.
But he is a little nuts. He is a little nuts. I'm sorry. I think I got the guy wrong. Milei is that's the chubby guy with the chainsaw, right?
Yes.
I was thinking of, I think it's Chile's president.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, that's
guy
the
that
one
was
who sat down his entire cabinet and went, all right, we're going to investigate all of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I will say that I do like some of what Mali does. I'm not quite as with him as I am the Chilean guy, though. I can't think of his name right now. But
There's Scott Bessent.
there's
He's the Treasury Secretary.
good old Scott Bessent. What do you think of him?
He's okay.
He's all right.
He's better than Pam Bondi. I do not like Pam Bondi.
So yeah, you don't like Bondi, do you? Why not?
I think she's part of the deep state and that she's letting certain things slide.
Yeah. I lost all faith in her after the Epstein thing.
And then another problem with her, Trump owes her a little bit, so he's never going to get rid of her.
Whoa.
Have you seen the history between them?
I have not. Fill us in.
All right. When she was part of the Florida Attorney General, she had a chance to indict Trump for something, and I can't remember exactly what it was. And she chose not to indict him.
Let's take a look and see what Google says. Pam Bondi indict Trump, Florida. Let's see here. Blah,
it's not on
blah,
there.
no.
I don't remember what it was. Let me look it up.
I don't see. This is all recent. Oh, wait. The Trump Foundation Pam Bondi scandal.
There it is.
Okay, so let's see here. I didn't hear about this. What is this? Good Lord, that's tiny. Hold on. There we go. In March 2016, Crew, which is, I forgot the Citizens. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not giving you any money. Go away. Crew discovered that the Trump Foundation had broken the law by giving an illegal $25,000 contribution to a political group supporting Florida AG Pam Bondi. Charitable foundations like the Trump Foundation are not allowed to engage in politics. That's not entirely accurate. There are ways that you can do it, and it is not illegal. And it's by forming a basically a PAC.
Kind of like a super PAC?
Yeah, kind of like a super PAC. I know this because I looked into it, because when I ran for office, my best friend is part of a group that is a 501(c) organization.
The motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do veteran stuff. You guys may have seen it before. Anyway, and we were discussing, he's like, hey, man, I'd like to help out. And I'm like, be very, very careful, bro. Don't give me any money through that at all. But we looked into it, and like I said, there are ways, but it's very, very particular. You have to make sure that you follow the law. Even more problematic was the fact that the contribution was given as Bondi's office was deciding whether to take legal action related to Trump University. Okay, that's sketch. That is sketch. This would set off an investigation, which would lead to one of the biggest stories of the year. Okay, so that's what I could see that. So at the time, they gave her some money, and then she decided not to indict or follow through.
So you see why I say that Trump owes her one.
Yeah, I can see the issue there. Okay, so yeah, Trump probably feels like he owes her. There's some history there. Like I said, I disagree with this whole Epstein thing.
As do I.
Show me the release. Just release everything.
But the problem with that, if I can say something,
Yeah.
is there's rumors that I'm not sure if this is true or not, but there's rumors that the Biden administration actually added names and stuff to that list when he was president.
Really? So
that's why Trump does it. This is not confirmed. But this is a rumor that when he was president, he was adding names.
Interesting. That is interesting. See, and this, you know what? This actually brings up a really good point. Okay. So once again, the mainstream media, which I have to agree with Trump, they're the enemy of the people. At this point, they are.
Yeah.
Some.
But you still need a media.
You need a free, uncompromised media. Absolutely. Let me explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. So we have heard, so they're releasing part of the documents, right? They released the flight logs. They released this other thing, right? And one of the things that they did was they would print an article and they said Elon Musk and Prince, what's the guy's name? William, right? No,
Andrew.
not William. Andrew. Yeah, all them damn royals, I don't pay attention to that crap. Were listed together. We all know Prince Andrew's a slimy piece of garbage. We know that. And he was deeply tied to Epstein, right? Conveniently, they put the two together in the headline because Elon Musk was in his address book, right? But what they didn't include until you actually get down, because people don't read articles anymore. They just look at the headlines and move on. Not everyone. Not you. You're watching us, so you're getting the news. Not you. You read the articles. But a lot of people just read the headline, take it as gospel, and move on. So by doing that, you immediately get it in your head that Elon Musk is the same piece of garbage that
that's
Andrew
not fair.
is. And it's not fair because the only listing was a basically where Epstein wanted to meet with Elon. It was like a pencil in, right? Where we're trying to hook up, basically. So that's not fair at all. Now, is he in there? I have no idea. Maybe he did. I don't know. But the evidence that we have at this time says it was like an address book attempt to have him on there. So that's just a prime example of the way that the media influences. And I think it's a slimy ass thing to do.
Which they do.
Oh, yeah. So, going back, the U.S. Treasury finalized a $20 billion, with a B, currency swap, $20 billion currency swap framework with Argentina, and bought pesos in the open market on Thursday, making good on Trump's pledge to prop up the wobbling country and sending the peso and Argentine dollar bonds sharply higher. The U.S. Treasury is prepared immediately to take whatever exceptional measures are warranted to provide stability to markets. He said on X, Argentina's 2035 bond rose 4.5 cents to trade at 60.5 cents on the dollar, while the peso closed at 1,418 per dollar, up 0.8% on the day after falling 3% earlier. Local stocks rose, blah, 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 blah. It gets into a bunch of other stuff. But in April, the IMF granted Argentina a new $20 billion loan program. The IMF didn't respond, but Bissett says, did you say it Bissett or Bessent?
Bissett.
Scott Bessent?
I think it's Bissett.
Okay, Scott Bessent. Argentina faces a moment of acute illiquidity. There's some words for you. Argentina faces a moment of acute illiquidity. The international community, including IMF, is unified behind Argentina and its prudent fiscal strategy, but only the United States can act swiftly. And act we will. To that end, we directly purchased Argentine pesos. There's no other further details, but Democrats, of course, complained that Trump was moving to provide financing to bail out a foreign government and global investors, even as the U.S. government has been shut down.
Because of the Democrats.
Yeah, so let's actually put a pause on this, and let's talk about this damned shutdown. Because it's big news.
It is.
So, all right, there are people who genuinely don't understand how this works. And they're like, well, Republicans control the House and the Senate and the presidency. If they wanted the government open, it'd be open. Not exactly. Not exactly. Why? Because it has to pass the Senate. And there are just enough Democrats in the Senate to keep this from moving forward. And I'm not going to get there are people who are way more knowledgeable about this than me out there explaining what's in the bill, why the Democrats want to halt funding. One of the big things, though, one of the big claims is that Democrats want Medicaid for illegals. And the Democrats are saying emphatically, no, that's not right. No, they don't get Medicaid. We don't want to give them Medicaid. It's a play on words, guys. I'm here to tell you, because yes, federal dollars do and have been used for health care for illegal immigrants. Provable. Matter of fact, they admitted it.
They're using loopholes.
They are using loopholes. The federal dollars are rerouted several different ways because look, when an illegal goes to the ER, one of the things that, because the Democrats talk about these rural hospitals, right? They're getting shut down because of Republicans, because Republicans don't want a deal. Well, one of the things that is happening, one of the things that are happening is that states like California are using federal dollars to pay the staff, to pay this, to pay that, but also to pay for the health care that these people receive. Who do you think funds this stuff? Where do you think the money comes from? It comes from the federal government. Again, they've admitted it. As a matter of fact, Hakeem Jeffries was on CNN. It was it was MSNBC. I think I sent it to you, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Here, I'll let me find it real quick, because this one is actually pretty clever. And I was genuinely surprised that it was on this channel. Let's see here. Where is it? I'll find it. In the meantime, tell me what your take is on this shutdown.
The shutdown, I don't know how it's going to end, because neither side seems to want to.
Yeah, nobody seems to want to
finish this. Like, Democrats I think they're winning this, because the media is showing polls that are showing that the Democrats are actually winning. But I don't believe those polls.
So, yeah, look, that's one thing that I did want to ask you is, do you think that this shutdown is going to have an effect on the midterms?
No.
One way or another? You don't think it's going to change anything?
No, I think people are going to forget about it by the midterms. It'll be settled by then. But it could last for the rest of this year.
So, yeah, that was my next question is, how, do you think this is going to go on for much longer?
It is.
I found it interesting, though, that
I predict it won't end until January of 2026.
Really? You think it's going to go that long?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Democrats are dug in.
They really are.
And their base wants this. They keep telling them that we want to see you guys fight. And they think this is the way to win.
Well, I can't find it right now, and I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time. But if you look, it's on there. Memology 101 is where I saw it on, which great channel. But they admitted, they were asked, I think it might have even been Chuck Schumer, was asked about, no, it was Hakeem Jeffries, because he kept insisting we're not giving Medicaid to illegals. We're not giving Medicaid. No, you're not giving Medicaid to illegals. But what you are doing is using federal funds to pay for their health care. Don't let them use word salad on you. Like, don't let them play with the words. It's very, very particular the way that they're speaking, because they can say emphatically, no, Medicaid doesn't go to illegals. Okay, maybe that's the case, which I would argue, by the way, that it does, but I don't have any provable facts on that. What we can prove, and what we've seen proven, is that federal dollars were used to pay for health care for illegals. I don't think a single dollar should go to paying for health care for someone who shouldn't be in this country. That's just me.
And I think that's the majority opinion of Americans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So let's talk about this what, $20 billion in Argentina being used to help their currency. What do you think?
I got mixed feelings on this one,
Okay.
because he's digging them out of a huge hole, and he already has dug some of the holes, so they just need a little extra help. But at the same time, I don't like this president of giving money to people.
Right. Why are we spending our money on other nations? Now, the flip side of that coin is we've been giving the money to people who hate us for freaking decades and decades. So, and with the federal government, $20 billion, that's a drop in the bucket. That's freaking nothing. Look what we just showed you is $10 billion that Indiana spends, which is half the budget. So that $20 billion is like one state's budget.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are 37 trillion in debt.
But that's the other thing. We are $37 trillion in debt. We got our own financial bullshit. Why are we helping other countries?
Because we can actually print money out of thin air.
Right.
Not literally, but by buying bonds. But
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So it says here the backstop is partly aimed at giving the president a boost in Argentina's October 26th midterms legislative elections. His party wants to strengthen its position to solidify his agenda to cut government spending and boost private sector investment.
And then also, another thing is giving him money. He is an ally, but he's in some corruption with his sister now.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point. There's some crazy stuff going on down there too. So it's going to be very interesting. Argentine lawmakers are actually working to limit what the president can do via decrees. So they did that crap here as well in Indiana with the lieutenant governor. They didn't like who got elected, so they ran to the legislators and said, let's pass some laws to take this away from them and this away from them.
Isn't it like the chairman of our agricultural
committee? Yeah, they tried to take all that away. I don't think they were successful. I'm not 100% sure, but it was slimy, man. It was just slimy. Oh, you didn't get who you wanted because they wanted someone else.
And they got back
with, which I have my own issues with, but that's for another show. But, and yeah, I voted for him. I did. I take responsibility. I'm partly responsible, but I don't think he's awful, but I don't agree with everything. So
is he better than the alternative would have been?
I don't know. That's the problem. We didn't get enough information about her when we were given.
I'm trying to remember who it was.
Let's find out. I don't recall, but let's see. Indiana.
Wasn't she a state rep?
Yes, she was a brand new.
Wasn't she
state rep.
Her name was Sue Harrington?
Let's see. That was in 2020. Was that 2024?
Yeah.
No.
Must have been thinking of somebody else.
Hold on. That was
Tanya Hudson?
no, she's the libertarian. Who did they? This was okay. Hold on. That was after. That was the regular primary. Come on, where is it? Here it is. Okay. He won. Jennifer McCormick. No. That's the Democrat. Hold on. Sorry.
She was a Republican at one time.
Allegedly. Let's see. Who did?
What was that name? It's gonna drive me nuts.
I know. Now I'm like, what? Who was it? I cannot remember. She was the. Come on, it should say. No, Braun defeated. Yeah. Braun. Okay, yeah. See, that's before.
I'm looking too.
Okay, yeah, that's that.
It's not working. Julie McGuire.
McGuire, thank you. Yeah, Julie McGuire. Okay. Here's the thing, right? Looking back at it, I actually liked a lot of the stuff that she was about, but we weren't given much information. All we were told was she was a state rep, she was Braun's pick, and she seemed like a nice lady.
Wasn't she? Is it her first term too? Wasn't she?
Yeah, she was in her first term as a state rep. It turns out that she actually does a bunch of stuff behind the scenes with special needs.
Oh.
My wife was all about her once she learned about her, but we weren't given enough information.
It was just basically saying, "Hi, here she is."
Right. We weren't given any information whatsoever. She wasn't responding to. I tried to get her on the show. Like I wanted to talk to her, and had we known, but they didn't. All they did was, and the poor girl, seriously, the poor woman, when the thing happened, she was all alone out there on the stage. And when she lost, when Micah won, her supporters jetted out. They left her there all by herself. It was foul, dude. It was foul. Yeah, it was not cool. So yeah. Anyway, I forgot what I was even going on about.
Is she still a state rep? Do you know?
I don't know. Let's
That'd be
find
interesting.
Out. Let's see. It said Julie
McGuire.
McGuire?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, there
she is still.
Yeah, she's still a state rep.
And speaking of state rep, Boy retired.
Boy, yep, she is retiring.
No, I think she retired.
Did she retire already?
Uh-huh.
She threw her support behind Randy Novak. She said that's who I choose.
Isn't he on the county council?
He is on the county council.
Yeah.
He ran against Joe Haney in the commissioner's race, and he lost. Joe Haney won again.
Was it close?
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. And that's part of why I think this is all going on. Because let's face it, Boy's pretty old. She's been around for a while. And let me just clear you. I ran against her twice. I came very close to winning, but I didn't. I lost. And Michigan City, very blue. It's going to stay blue probably for a while. It is what it is, but I'm very proud of how I did. Point is, I don't think Randy's going to win anything at the county level. I think they're done with it. So that was shown in the race for commissioner. So I think this was so that he can do something else. I think at the county level, I think any current Democrats are in deep trouble. I genuinely do. That said, I don't have anything against Randy. Seems like a nice guy. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's very well connected. So more power to him if that's who. But She can say all day long, that's who I choose, but they still have to have a caucus.
Oh, okay.
And it is possible that someone other than Randy decides to run for this seat and wins.
Do you know when they're doing the caucus?
I don't know. I can look it up. Give me just one. Yeah. So I have my own like concerns with many elected officials, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure exactly when the caucus is going to be held for the Democrats, but that's how it works. You have to have a caucus. You can't just randomly pick somebody and go, you're in there. Now, and it's completely possible that because what happens is they have basically the people from that district, the precinct committeemen. That's your job. So let's break it down, right?
All right.
So in a normal situation, like for example, with a governor, right? We've known like when a Senate seat comes up, the governor can appoint someone.
Yep.
We had that whole deal with Ron Blagojevich.
Yep.
And that whole thing, right? With Obama's seat. With a state rep, I think it's different. Let's confirm this because I hate to be wrong, but I've been told. So let's make sure. Okay, so Indiana state representative. Let's see. Yeah, resignation replacement process. Yeah. Typically filled, through a caucus of eligible precinct committeemen from the same political party as the former office holder. Must be completed within 30 days of the vacancy.
Okay.
So the resigning official, let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. The resigning official must submit a written resignation that may include the effective date. They have to file it with the appropriate office, and the office holder can send a copy of the resignation to their political party's county chair, but is not required actually. Within 30 days of the vacancy, a caucus of eligible precinct committeemen from the district is convened by the state party chairman, not local, state. Committeeman eligibility. Precinct committeemen who live within the vacant House district and represent the same political party are eligible to vote in the caucus. In other words, Democrats. All the Democrat precinct committeemen from District 9, which includes Porter and LaPorte counties, will have to have a caucus. The caucus elects a new representative by a majority vote. If the vacancy was held by an official not affiliated with a major political party, a special election is held. But she was a Democrat. So, state party chairman must certify the new representative's name to the Speaker of the House, and then they'll serve for the rest of the term. So, what's going to happen is they have to have a caucus. I thought so, but it's always good to confirm. I want you guys to have, accurate information. They'll have to have a caucus, and this caucus will involve LaPorte and Porter counties. Democrats. They'll get together. Whoever wants it will announce, hey, I'm going to try for it. If no one other than a single person does it, then, Randy Novak will win. But somebody can put their name in there.
District 9, I know, covers Michigan City.
But
how far does it go into Chesterton? Does it go all the way to Chesterton?
It is the majority of Chesterton. It is. It ends at, I forgot the name of the road there, but there's a little pizza joint right there, and it's the majority of Chesterton.
Okay.
So it's Chesterton, the Pines, Michigan City, and then they stopped it north of Westville.
Okay, so it doesn't even cover LaPorte.
Doesn't even cover LaPorte at all.
Who's your rep?
My rep is now Jim Preston.
Okay.
So, move to LaPorte,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay,
No,
I didn't know
they
if you
already,
wanted
yeah,
to-
I talked about it before.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to LaPorte out of Michigan City, and which I'm going to tell you, it is really lucky for a couple of elected officials that we moved, because there was every intention of running against some of these psychopaths in our government. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people who's going to lie on the forms and tell you I live somewhere that I don't. So, sorry.
No, that's a good thing.
I mean, it's a good thing, yes, but it's really frustrating because we were all set. We were all set. But you got a reprieve, is Natch. Anyway. Anyway. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So she retired, which good for her, man.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised that she stayed as long as she did, because every time she said insiders, she told them this is my last term. But she kept getting asked to stay. Good for her. I am not a fan, but she is a really nice lady.
She is.
She
I see her at Michigan City. She lives near me. So
yeah. She's a nice lady. She's
She
never
is.
been rude to me. She's never been mean to me. The biggest issue that I had, and people agree with me, is that she doesn't actually do anything. And she doesn't respond to messages. She doesn't respond to letters. So I wrote her a couple of times. One time, her assistant said she'll write a letter, and that was the extent. So,
did she write you a letter?
No.
I didn't think so.
So yeah.
All right.
Oh,
this is a big one.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a huge one. All right, so the next little topic, guys, this is the big, a really big one, a really, really big one, and that is Pete Hegseth, which, you know what, before we dig in, let's talk about Pete.
Okay.
Pete Hegseth, what do you think of the guy?
I don't mind him.
Okay.
You have problems with him?
I don't necessarily have problems with him. This is the first major issue that I've had.
Okay.
We'll talk about it in just a second. But what do you think of the whole fitness standards thing?
Oh, that we want our troops to be fit.
We don't want MEAL Team 6, right?
No.
We want SEAL Team 6. And I do think that it's kind of it's very hypocritical, not kind of, it's very hypocritical for these fat generals to sit around and say, oh yeah, you got to do 100 push-ups when they can't do one.
That's fair point.
I mean,
that's fair.
You know, look, man, I'm not in the military.
No.
I don't pretend to be. I couldn't freaking pass the fitness requirements, but I'm not telling people to do them.
Exactly.
I'm not weighing them out and going, that's was one of the most frustrating things with some organizations, right? Like, for example, Indiana State Prison does have fitness requirements for special teams, like K-9 officers, stuff like that. You have to be able to pass a physical. There's a certain physical requirement for regular officers, but some of these guys, woo! Now, I was a big boy. Let's just say I was a big boy when I worked at the prison. I was yeah. I've lost like 200 pounds since I worked there. I was
really
huge, yes, and I was massive, dude. I don't think that represents someone that should be protecting the public from the worst of society. I'm not necessarily against introducing fitness standards there. However, I'm not in charge. Special teams, though, K-9, CERT, other special teams, they do have fitness standards. You had to be able to run under, get under a certain amount of time, blah, blah, blah. The point of all this rambling is some of the people that set these requirements were fat asses. I mean, just, boy, you gotta slow down on them cheeseburgers. Yeah. I mean, big, So again, begs the question: why the hell are you the one in charge of setting fitness standards when you can't even, you can't do them yourself? I got a big problem with hypocrisy. It's me, is what it is. So I'm not against that. One of the things, though, that our people are getting a little frustrated about is the fact that females now have to make the same. They have to match the fitness standards of men,
and that's not fair.
But is it? So for then, and it's I don't know how I feel about it. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not sure, because one of the things that we've always had in the military is, okay, you got this standard, right? Guys, like if you had gym class, you remember girls could do the push-ups on their knees instead of their feet. All right, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
As a kid, I'm like, that's some bullshit. Now, as we grow up, we learn that women and men have different strengths. Mm-hmm. Women are good at these things. Men are good at these things. That's just biology, guys. That's the way that it is. Uh-huh. Which is I'm not going to launch into the diatribe about, other stuff with trans and all that other crap. But what I will say is our military for many, many years didn't even let women in.
True.
Then they said, okay, women can come in, but non-combat roles. Yeah. Then they said, well, that's not fair, right? Women can be Navy SEALs, which I don't know how that works out. They can be this or that or this, right? Or Marines, for example. Women can join the Marines. Okay. It's not like the enemy is going to give you a break because you're a woman.
Exactly.
It's not like you have less equipment to carry because you're a woman.
If they can do the standards, I have no problem with it.
Well, that's the thing. Which standards? The standards for women or the standards for everyone?
True.
Hegseth made it to where it's across the board. You have to do the standards. Now, if you can, and there are women who can, make no mistake, there are some badass bitches out there. But if you can, cool, rock on, hit the ground running, you a badass. I respect you. I can't do them.
I couldn't either.
No, that's not me. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that just because I'm a man, I can do it, because I can't. Not anymore. Maybe when I was younger. Maybe. But
I could.
But yeah. I damn sure can't now. But if you can meet the standards, what's the problem? So there's a lot of drama with him. One of the big pieces of drama now that concerns me, I need to learn more about it. We're going to dive in right now. Is this whole Qatar Air Base thing. What's happening? Let's dig in. So Hegseth announces Qatar will build Air Force facility at a United States base in Idaho. So does that mean that a foreign Air Force is going to build an air base in our air base? Or because we've joint trained with people, we have sold them aircraft, taught them how to fly them, and set them loose many times in the past. Is that what's going on? He just misspoke?
I'm hearing conflicting information because I've heard this and then I've heard that.
Right.
So I don't know which one is true or not. Yeah,
let's see what this says. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Friday announced a finalized agreement that will allow the Qatari Emiri Air Force to build a facility at the Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. That entire sentence concerns me.
Yeah.
The agreement, which Hegseth announced alongside Qatari Minister of Defense Sheikh Saud bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. Oh, Jesus. Okay, he's name is huge, at the Pentagon will allow Qatari pilots to receive training alongside U.S. soldiers. We've done that many times in the past. No issue there. There are no foreign military bases in the U.S., but some foreign militaries do maintain a presence for training. The Singaporean Air Force also has a presence at the Mountain Home Base. Like I said, we've done this for many years. We joint train. We train pilots in how to fly the equipment. We sell them because, let's face it, who doesn't want American equipment?
Sure.
It's the best in the world. There's a reason why we build F-15s and all the cool shit. Hegseth said he is, quote, proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership, Hegseth said. And I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us. Now, here it is right here. Later Friday, Hegseth clarified that Qatar would not have its own base in the U.S. Writing on X, quote, the U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, including today's announced cooperation with F-15QA aircraft. However, to be clear, Qatar will not have their own base in the United States, nor anything like a base. We control the existing base like we do with all partners. Okay, if that's true, there's nothing here. It's a nothing burger because we do this shit all the time. Like they said, we already have a Singaporean thing going on there already. We train their pilots. We sell them expensive ass planes. We teach them how to fly them. And we do joint training missions together. That's how it works. As long as that's all that's going on, I don't give a shit. You know what is probably going on? They're probably building a barracks for their people. That's probably what's going on. That's what he's talking about, a facility. Maybe.
A barracks is like where they sleep?
Yeah. It's where the pilots sleep. Maybe even in their own control tower, stuff like that. Not necessarily against, especially because most of their shit, I assume, is going to need to be translated, for even though English is the language of aviation. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned that a while back, but I do still find it interesting.
English in a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, English is really important.
And they're helping us fight ISIS, too.
So that's one of the things, right? And one of the things that was brought up was that Qatar, as a matter of fact, was a really big deal in the peace agreement.
Yep.
So people are like, well, is it quid pro quo with that?
I'm thinking it's part of the deal.
Your peace pro quo, quid pro peace. How do you say that?
Pro peace.
Yeah. I kind of like that term, actually, quid pro peace.
But yes, I've heard that this is part of the deal. Nothing confirmed or anything.
Yeah, these are rumors. We don't have any smoking gun documents or anything, but it makes sense. It really does. For them to go, yeah, we'll help you get this, locked in, but I don't know.
And they were also really upset when Israel went through to Qatar and killed some Hamas.
Right.
Benjamin Netanyahu had to apologize to him.
Yeah, which he's not big on doing. So it was a big
Trump
deal.
made it.
Yeah. So speaking of Trump and Netanyahu, there is some strain there in that relationship. And what do you think? Okay, so let's just say that both partners, Hamas and Israel, have a history of breaking ceasefires. What do you think? Who do you think is going to be the first to break it, if at all?
I'm hoping nobody.
Right. Me too. I hope that this truly means they stop, right?
But it'll probably be Hamas.
Okay. So assume Hamas breaks it. Okay. But let's assume for a moment that it's Israel. Because the last time they did the peace, the ceasefire, you saw what happened with Israel. Okay. If they do it again, do you think we should cut funding? That's a hell of a thing, right?
That's a
big thing. That would be huge. I will say this. It is a very, very complicated subject, and neither of us, I think, are expert enough on the region or the politics to definitively say one way or another this should or shouldn't happen. However, I can tell you that my personal opinion, if Israel breaks this ceasefire, we need to have a serious talk about our relationship.
I really hope they don't.
I do too. I hope that neither of them are dumb enough to screw this up.
They're on the pathway. It's a 20-point plan, and we're only on point 1.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully this works out.
Hopefully
this works out.
And I hope that a new governing body rules Palestine.
Yeah,
that's not Hamas anymore.
Right. So one of the sticking points, I guess, of this whole ceasefire thing was that Hamas basically had to give up all their arms, and the governing body had to be changed, and like all of that. There's a lot in it. I do not know enough. Again, I don't know enough about the whole treaty. I don't know enough about the region, but big old ghetto. But I do know that I'm tired of bullshit from Israel. I'm tired of bullshit from Hamas, and I'm tired of people defending the wrong that each of them did, because there's plenty of fault to be found with each of them. That said, fingers crossed that this holds.
I hope it does.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, here it is right here. Qatar played a substantial role in the Israel-Hamas peace deal, as Hexas said Friday, and as other top administration officials have acknowledged. Trump's decision to accept a luxury Boeing 747-8 jetliner from Qatar to use as a presidential plane also stirred up debate about ethical and national security-related concerns.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I don't think there's any way to say absolutely, positively, 100% that plane is secure.
There's no way.
There's no way. Unless it was like just a bare-ass, basic, not put together plane. I don't dig it, man. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. But
Trump's going to do what
yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah. Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do, and damn the consequences. Plus, he can't run again.
That is true.
Allegedly. I don't know, man. I'll say this. There have been people who have done their best to explain why it could happen again.
And Trump loves to tease people.
And Trump doesn't give a crap, dude. He had hats made that said Trump 2028 and handed them out to the Democrats.
You saw that.
I did, dude. He is master level troll. I will give him that. He's master level troll. I don't agree with everything he does, but sometimes he is hilarious.
He knows how to get him.
He knows how to get a rise out of him. He absolutely
Can you imagine their
does.
Faces when he did that?
Oh my God! What? Yeah. So
Trump's gonna be Trump.
Trump is gonna Trump no matter what. It's just the way that it is. So I don't know, man. It's good old DJT. He is who he is, and that's the way that it is. It'll be interesting to see. I think they're grooming JD Vance.
Yeah. And then Rubio is going to be the vice president.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Rubio, dude. I'm just not.
No.
I will say he has his moments. And when he gets asked a direct question that's based on some BS, he has no problem flipping that around. He handles himself quite well on his feet, thinking. But that said, there's some things that I just don't like.
I'm not a fan of JD Vance.
Yeah. JD has kind of come up in my estimation. One of the things that I do like about JD Vance is he has picked up from Trump how to just say what's on his mind. He doesn't politician it up. He just says it. Now, sometimes that's not a good thing. And he says some shit that's like, dude, why would you say that? But I like the fact that he at least seems to be genuine when he talks. He says something, and that's just the way that it is. He doesn't couch it in these milquetoast statements like some of these politicians do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
if he wants the nomination, I don't see anybody beating him.
Right. It'd be hard to go against that. It really would. All right, guys. I think that's it. Unless there's something else you want to cover.
No.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be back. It is really good to be back. We're still getting decorated, so the walls are bare. I don't have the artwork up, any of that, but it'll get there. I actually had to, because of the way that the room's situated, I have to share an office with my wife. I had my own studio in the other place, so that was really nice. But now, in order to conserve space and in order for us to be able to, enjoy our home, we're having to share an office. So what I was able to do is this chair reclines, but the way that it was, I couldn't recline the way my desk was. So what we figured out is the reason that there's a doorway behind me is because the chair will actually recline into the closet.
Oh, okay.
So it's a way to have a little more reclining space and utilize we're not using the closet for anything. It's just a closet. This is the mattress topper that we were using, and then we decided the bed kind of sat too high. I'd almost hop into it. So we took it out. That's what this is. And then I'm going to put something up there and all of that. But it's going to come with time. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, taking the time to sit down with us. We always like to hear from you. Leave your thoughts about this in the comments.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Without further ado, God bless you, God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America. It's so good to be back.
It is.
Thanks.